I've promised you two examples of single responsibility principle, and we've talked about too long methods, but let's talk about too long controllers in general with too many methods, which make controller responsible for too many things. And here's another typical scenario in Laravel. So you have a controller of invoice controller with typical CRUD operations like create and store and something else, and then you have some custom methods. You start adding more logic to the same controller because, well, it is for invoices, right? So report of invoices by month and report invoices by product or something like that. Visually, I have that in my project, which looks like this. So create invoice, you can have a table of invoice, and then there's report by month, and then there's report by product, and it's all in the same controller, which is okay, but it violates the single responsibility principle because controller of invoice should be responsible about invoices, managing the invoices, but not reports. It's a better way to have a separate reports controller for those things. And let's do exactly that. Actually, I've done it already. So there is a controller of reports, invoice report controller, and it's a personal preference how to structure everything, the folders, the name of the controllers. It depends on how many similar controllers you expect in the future. So for example, I've created a subfolder reports with namespaces of reports because maybe in this project there will be more reports, like not only invoices but transaction reports, expenses reports, other financial reports, and then there will be a controller for each type, but still also we have report in the name of the controller, so it would be easier to find in general PHP Storm or whatever is your IDE in general search. So then routes web becomes different. From invoices, report month, and report product, we have different URLs. I've prepared them manually, and let's paste it. So reports, then types of reports. Invoices, then monthly report or product report, and also there is a parameter to format, and we will talk about that a bit later. But generally we have invoice report controller instead of the same invoice controller. So that's step one. Then if we go into that invoice report controller, what do we have here? We have report by month, for example, function, and also we have report by product, which is incomplete in this case. And then that report is also responsible only for the report, and there will be other classes. So in this case, invoice report service to get the data. So the data is not part of the controller. It's a separate service. Remember, like we did in store invoice method. But then also we can separate it even more. So single responsibility principle, it depends on how much you want to divide. But if we are following strictly the responsibility principle of single responsibility, so invoice report should be called something like invoice data service, invoice report data service, which is responsible for getting the report, and then there would be another service for downloading the report. So for example, if you have PDF, CSV, and XLS, this should be kind of bad because it violates the principle of single responsibility. Report is about getting the report data, and there should be another report download service to download the report. So then we have full picture of single responsibility principle divided, or responsibility divided into single responsibilities. Controller is responsible only for calling those services and returning the result. Then report service is responsible for the data of the report, and then download service takes care of the download no matter which is the format, PDF, XLS, or CSV. Then invoice report controller or service doesn't know anything about the download of the reports. So this makes your code separated enough, and it's easier to work on separate parts on report data or report downloader or controller or other parts.